I'm just here to serve and come as my authentic self, and whatever that cultivates is fine with me. Peace and love. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Ajay, and today I'm going to be showing you guys an easy and simple, delicious soul food meal that you can make as an alkaline, plant-based, vegan person that has that type of lifestyle. I'm plant-based. I've actually been vegan, or I started being vegan about 2 years ago, and then I transitioned over time into being plant-based. So no processed foods, no Beyond Meat, no Impossible. We are doing everything whole foods as much as possible. So we're going to be making some Alfredo pasta with some greens and some fried oyster mushrooms. I love me some fried oyster mushrooms, the crunchiness of them, and then inside it just be all juicy and delicious. And then the pasta for sure. I remember before I started, or before I stopped eating meat, I would make Alfredo all the time. I would make me some shrimp fettuccine, add a little chicken on the side, and it would be bomb. But we're doing it a different way this time, and so I'm actually going to be using some Komet spiral noodles. I got these from a store called Berkeley Bowl, and these are alkaline, so they're not heavy with the starch, not super processed, doesn't have any added sugars or any harmful ingredients. And then as well as this flour, this e-corn flour that I'm going to be using, doesn't have any bleach, any added ingredients or anything of that nature. So we're going to be using this flour to fry the mushrooms. So we're going to get into it. I'm making the greens. Instead of using collard greens, I'm going to be using kale. I love kale. Kale is great. It has many different benefits. And so we're going to be using this. And as I go, I'll just show you guys all the ingredients, seasonings, and everything I use, from how I make the Alfredo from scratch, how I fry the oyster mushrooms, and what kind of ingredients I incorporate into the greens. So before we get into this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely after this video, if you enjoyed this one, definitely go and check out some of my other videos. I've done, actually I did 32 days all raw foods, but my video is 30 days all raw foods, and I have a part 2 as well on different recipes that I made, and a couple other videos on meal prepping and things of that nature. So I'm starting to post more things of this nature. So we're just gonna get right into it. Don't want to make this video too long. So let's do it. So I am going to be starting with the kale greens first, and I'm going to be using some of this Earth Balance vegan butter. This is a pretty good butter. This is the butter that I use. There are probably some better ones than this, but for right now, this is what we are doing. And so I'm just saturating that skillet. This is a cast iron skillet with some of this vegan butter. And I'm going to just allow that to melt down, and then this is where we will start adding in our other ingredients to make this flavorful. So I've added in some onions. I love onions. That's like one of the keys to the base of this is some onions. So I did cut up some onions, added me in some onions. Then I went in with some minced garlic. I love the flavoring of mixed garlic, so I decided to add in some as well to get that base going with the flavors before incorporating in the seasonings. And I actually usually would use vegetable broth, but I didn't have any around this time. So we use what we have over here, and I just decided to use water. And for the seasonings, I incorporated in some garlic. And also over here, we don't measure, we allow spirit to guide us. So I just seasoned as I felt I needed to until the ancestors said to stop. I went in with some of Tabitha's seasonings, 2 of her seasonings, and they're both really delicious, very, very flavorful. This last one that I added in gives it like a smoky type of taste, which makes you feel like you eating some greens at a barbecue. It just gives it that soul food type of taste. And I added in some red pepper flakes to add a little spice because I like spice, and some coconut aminos as well. And for a little extra flavor, I went in with some of these cubes. I don't eat meat or chicken or animal products, so I'm using the vegetable ones, and they definitely added a good amount of flavor. I used 3 of them, and that's pretty much all I used inside of my greens, and I allowed that to come to a boil. Oh, one more thing, I did add in some organic raw apple cider vinegar. I seen this online, so I was like, let me try it out, and it did add a specific type of taste to the greens, which I really, really liked. And I got someone else's opinion on it as well, and they said that they was fire. The greens was fire. I make them every year. The family loves them. So yeah, but after I made everything, incorporated everything, and allowed it to come to a boil, I then added in my kale, my greens, and I added in basically like the whole bag because they are going to cook down and it's not going to be as much as you think it's going to be. So just mix that in very, very well. Allowed all those flavors and juices to get on the kale, and I just allowed that to boil in and sit for about 25 minutes, and the greens were done. It did not take a long time. And on the side, I started my noodles. These are the kamut noodles, and I'm just going to keep those in there and allow them to come to a boil. And in the meantime, start prepping to fry my oyster mushrooms. So I used some oat milk. I seasoned it with some garlic powder, onion powder, some chili powder, some Cajun, some cayenne, and just seasonings that I like. This is this type of seasoning blend that I like, that I use pretty often, especially when frying something. And I just incorporate that in together, and that's going to be my wet batter and what I'm dipping the oyster mushrooms in before I put them inside of the corn flour. So I just set that aside and I started to work on my Alfredo because the oyster mushrooms are like the last thing that needs to be cooked. Once you put them in that oil and start frying them, they're going to be done in a couple minutes. And you want those to be fresh, hot, and crispy. So for my Alfredo, the main base was coconut milk. I love coconut milk. You can use coconut milk in a lot of things. But along with the coconut milk, I added in some hemp seeds, and this is like the base of the Alfredo. Hemp seeds and coconut milk, and I tried to add an even distribution of both, and I added in my seasonings and some of the same seasonings I added inside of the wet batter for the oyster mushrooms, just so everything and all the flavors can come together. And I blended that up, and then I put it inside of a skillet and I allowed that to warm up. And as it warmed up, it also started to thicken up as well. And that's the Alfredo sauce, y'all. I'm just gonna season it a little bit, and that's pretty much it. I did decide to go in and add some mushrooms as well, really for the look, but also I just really love mushrooms. So I was like, let me add some into the pasta, even though we about to have some fried oyster mushrooms. And the fried oyster mushrooms that we are going to have will be the king oyster mushrooms. And I got these from Trader Joe's. You can kind of find them really at any store. They have a section where the mushrooms are, and you kind of just have to look, but they are there. I cut them into some pieces. I got my setup going, and so I have my flour, I have my wet batter, and I'm just basically gonna put everything in the wet batter, put everything inside of the flour. It's gonna coat it really nicely, and then I'm gonna put it inside of the avocado oil that I'll be frying in, and that is how my oyster mushrooms have come together. And now, as you guys can see, my Alfredo sauce has thickened up. My noodles are done. So I'm just going to add in all my noodles. I'm going to mix everything in together. And that is the Alfredo. That is the mushrooms. And everything has come together. The greens are done. And this is what everything looks like, y'all. When I tell y'all it was delicious, flavorful, like I would actually use this meal and meal prep with them. I would just have to make the oyster mushrooms fresh every single day, which only takes a couple minutes. But this is what my plate looks like. It is an alkaline soul food plate. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm gonna enjoy my food. This is an alkaline meal, no processed, all whole foods, and Definitely about to be satisfied. Quick and easy. It took me about an hour, but I made enough for me to eat for like 3 days. So yeah. Thank y'all for watching, and check out some of my other videos. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings.